Okay, Thursday evening, we're going to go ahead and get started and see if we can knock out some painting. And, look at that, I'm not prepared. I need to put some water on my wet palette. I'll be right back. Okay, now we can get started. So I just finished up, last time we did a video here, we just finished up the mounted elements yet for my, for this army had not come in yet. So at this point, I was like, well, what am I going to work on here? Well, we need to go ahead and at least work on something for these guys. So we're going to be building the two elements of the Scots Pikemen. Now these guys are, these figures are less than stellar. They're kind of old. They're gladiator figures, and they're kind of rough, but they're really pretty unimpressive. See if I can. Now, Gladiator has a couple different sculptors. People rave about some of the figures made by, I believe his name is Jeff Ochman, and this is not one of them. And he's actually okay. Just some of the casting is, I don't know, less kind of lackluster. But we're going to make him, you know, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy taking some figures that are less than impressive and giving them their proper treatment to make them look pretty good. So if you take some figures that are stellar, you know, some of them can just pick themselves, and these other ones is kind of an uphill battle with them. All right, so we need to, boy, I'm totally unprepared. There's a book that I wanted to bring in here to show you what I was getting the idea of that, but I did not bring it in, so I need to go grab that book. I'll be right back again. Okay, maybe I've got all the stuff with me that I need this time. So I have a book here that I decided to paint the first Scottish pikeman in, and use this as an example. So this is the book that we're talking about here. This is Men-at-Arms 100, and it's this guy right here. This figure is almost an exact copy of what they made this casting from. So I'm going to paint him as close as I can to what this looks like as a starting point for the rest of my Scots Pikemen. I've got 8 of them to paint, so why not paint one just like that guy? Especially since he looks, you know, reasonable. So yeah, so that's the tack I decided to take on these figures. Now, why am I, if I'm building an Irish army, why the heck am I painting Scots? So, well, you know, the whole reason is that this army isn't necessarily just an Irish army. It is, but then it's got some options for Edward the Bruce's invasion in 1315 through 1318 of Ireland. Edward the Bruce is Bobby Bruce's brother, so, and their holdings there. So that's going to allow us to build this army in lots of different ways and play them in different competitions, depending on if I want to make them a little beefier or a little lighter. And this is, I think this would make them kind of beef them up. Now, if I finish painting my Irish army, all I need to do is the 3 elements of mounted, and I don't have them with me. They're on order. Of August, And I didn't hear back from them until today. And he's told me that they did ship out on the 13th. So we're 2 weeks out from the UK, and normally I would have gotten them here a week ago. It usually takes about 1 week transit from the UK, almost exactly. But with these interesting times that we live in, who knows how they'll get here. But the important thing is that they're on the way, because even if they take 3 more weeks or whatever, at least I know they're coming. So I've got plenty of stuff to work on. So, all right, so we've got a message while I was doing my ramble. And, Australian Greg. Hi, Tony, watching while I have a cup of tea. I'll be decals to 12 pikemen for my Pyrrhic forces. Once that's done, I'll then base them using your technique. Okay, so you decided not to go with the Little Big Man Studios ones. So the VVV are traditional water slide decals. And I don't blame you. I'm not sure if you've ever used the Little Big Man Studios, but they're weird. And I don't mean that to say that they suck or anything. They're weird. You've got to, you kind of have to reinvent the whole thing of how you go about it. And they cast a lot of doubt. I thought that I wasn't going to be happy with how they turned out, but they actually turned out okay. But man, not up until the end did I realize that everything was going to be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and put some boots on this dude, and we can continue rambling. We just need to get some stuff done, So this is not story time with Tony. That's on Sundays at 8 a.m. Oh man. So almost made it. One more day, and then we can, be done. But these are going to take a while. I know that the last set of the 12 figures I did them in a day, which is an insane pace for me. But that was a lot of different factors. One of the factors is they weren't really difficult to do. I kind of already had a plan how I was going to make them look. These guys are going to be a little different. There's not going to be they're not going to be really gaudy. I mean, although this guy is wearing kind of a green tunic. But we did that because, like I said, here he is pictured in all his glory for whatever reason. Who's this? Christopher Rothero decided to. This is a fairly old book too. I'm pretty sure this is probably if it's not the 70s, it's the early 80s. Let's see what the print date is on this thing. 1984. Okay, so this has been around for a while, and. Yeah, it's an all right book. The drawings are, I mean, it's no Peter Dennis and no, oh my gosh, I forgot what his name is. The guy I love. Oh well. I'm just a painter. I'm just doing paint by numbers here. Oh man. All right, so let's get some boot action going on. This brush is actually too good. This is like a face brush. So let's get one that's a little sheer. This one should be fine. Yeah, so that's why I'm working on Scots. I'm working on Scots because it's for that army. But I was concerned that they had not shipped the figures yet. So what happened is I ordered them on the 3rd. I ordered these from a company I've never done business with before. And I'm used to when I order something through email, I automatically, certainly, get some kind of a response that, hey, thanks for your order. We'll let you know when it's shipped. Or, they'll just let me know, hey, your order shipped or what have you. 2 weeks go by and I haven't heard anything from them. So I drop them a line and go, hey, I didn't get a response. Just want to make sure you had you'd received my order. Because I paid through PayPal, immediately. And I didn't really receive a response for a couple days. So I ended up instant messaging them through Facebook because I have a Facebook presence. And they got right back to me. I mean, it was like they sent the message, and I think within 30 seconds I got a reply back, email bounce. So I'm like, all right, well, let me look at my spam folder, and there was nothing there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I just want to make sure you got an order. And they said, well, just so you know, we're really busy and we're running behind, And we've heard that it has taken 2 to 8 months, 2 to 8 weeks, not 2 to 8 months. That's absurd. 2 to 8 weeks for people to receive our parcels. So I said, thanks for letting me know. That's good. So I'm not, turning around looking for it. But will I receive confirmation once it has been mailed? And they said I would. Okay. So like another week goes by, and I'm like, okay, they couldn't have not mailed it already. I mean, if they've had my order for like 2 weeks, I understand the parcel's going to take a while to get here, but you need to put the parcel in the mail so that the wonderful postal service can start taking their time working their way through the labyrinth that is to get it to us here. And that was like a week ago, and I finally got a response from them through email and said that yeah, your package was mailed out on the 13th. Well, that's 2 weeks ago, and so that's good. So then I don't have to stress about it anymore. But we'll be doing an unboxing on them whenever they arrive. I mean, if they arrive. If they ever arrive, we'll do an unboxing on them. Nah, they're fine. I mean, I've mentioned before, I get better service from people in the UK than I do in the US. At least that's been my experience in the past. So I didn't think this one was going to be any different. But, I just want to know people are working on, that's why, mail ordering things. There's a couple of companies, one of them that's still in business and one of them that isn't, that I know that their method is you have to send them a check and their order form in the mail, and that's just dumb. I mean, even before all this COVID was going on, it's dumb to have to wait a week for them to start moving on your order. It's also to realize how to write a check. I've written a check in years, so uh, you know, I don't understand the not taking PayPal. I mean I can take PayPal. And you guys want to send me any PayPal money, you can. I have an account. I'm pretty versed to how to do that, but no, I'm kidding. But I'm just saying that you gotta have to get with the times. You gotta make it easier for your consumers to spend money. So that you can gotta have that cash flow going quick. So, but anyhow, they got back to me today, so it'll get here one of these days. So, but we'll have two unboxings because I also had to order the nights. I did not have the nights I thought I had. I probably have 120 pounds worth of um, of lead, and I don't have any nights for the I don't have the correct nights for the period. I mean, it's going to take me just as long to paint the wrong nights as it is the right ones. I might as well paint the right ones. So, thought they were in. I thought I had them, but it's just a bunch of 100 years war nights that I have. My mind at ease a little bit as far as what stage the order was in. Because I'll order something, I'm immediately the next day looking for it in the mail. It's just how I am. So I definitely like ordering from places that give you like I'm not sure that Amazon does that, but other places will tell you where your package is en route, so you can rest easier. And then it drives you crazy when I actually had this happen one time, relatively recent. I don't remember what it was, but it said your package is in transit. Okay, should be delivered today this evening by a certain time, and then it never arrived. I'm like, somebody's sitting on my stuff, and I could be doing somebody's sitting and somebody didn't put it on the truck or it got lost or I don't remember what happened. I ended up getting whatever it was, but it was 2 3 days later that it said it was going to. It was just really annoying. I don't think it was something that I needed. It's just the idea that it's not here. Oh well, first world problems, right? All right, what else we got here? Greg says, I tried Little Big Man Studios, but I found them a difficult proposition. Yeah, they're weird. They're very strange. You know what's even strange? You know what's even stranger than that is a lot of buffering. I'm running on 4G LTE maximum bars. I can't do it any better. I don't know. There is thunderstorms around, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I watched the one I did over the weekend, and it was basically scot free. I thought it was even filming. It was hard to believe it was even live. It ran totally with no issues. So I don't really know what it is. I'm sorry, I don't really know how to fix it. Um, hey, John, how are you? Yeah, so I like it when you order something through the mail and you can kind of track where it is in the whole process. So, okay, so this guy here, let's take a look at this guy. All right, he's got trappings that are of a leather color. His pike, do his sword, belt, etc. His I was gonna say his holster. No, his saber. No, that's the 21st century, or even 19th century. It could be even 19th century because the Old West had holsters. Okay, almost the same color. Yeah, if I got any technical issues, I'm apologize. I really don't know how to fix them. I've asked questions. I've looked around why I can't. This won't upload in 1080, even though I've got tons of bandwidth and other people are able to do it as well. And I can't get an answer. That's why I really don't like technology stuff because by you don't get an answer, and then by the time you do, what you have is no longer current, and it's you need to move on to the next device. And it's like this is why I paint, and this is why the skills that I developed doing this don't all of a sudden disappear and don't work for me for more. But yeah, I was picking my Nanchow army. This was, I guess, 2 years ago, and we had a hurricane that came nearby to make it 30, 40 knot gusts, and we lose power, right? Well, I still wanted to get the army done, so I put these little headlamps with LEDs on, and I painted away. That didn't stop me from painting. So, of course, the problem with the power going out is then it's hot, and I can't paint in dripping sweat. So, I think it happened early enough that it wasn't an issue. But I always said, I can deal without having any power. I just can't deal without air conditioning. I mean, candles. I could deal if we had candles. No big deal, right? I could even deal without having a phone. No television. I don't watch TV. But how the heck am I going to fall asleep if it's freaking 85 degrees inside and no fan? No. So, okay. This figure is not impressive. Sorry, Gladiator. This is why I don't want to be sponsored by anybody. I want to be sponsored by a certain company, send me some figures, and then I've got to pretend like, I love cow dung. Let me have another helping. But with that said, I still think that just about every figure manufacturer makes some decent figures. They may not all be good, but just about everybody has decent figures. I think something came through when I was buffering. Yeah, I thought that the Little Big Man Studios things were really weird. And what was really weird was was their flags, their banners. Really weird, because you have to take the plastic off, and then you're looking at a side that looks like it's the top, but it's not. It's the back side. So you have to press it down, and then you release it by the back of the decal putting water on it. So imagine if you have to say do, and this is not knocking their product, okay? I think they make a good product, but it is really, I'm telling you, when you've been doing this for like 30 years, and then somebody throws you something that you think you know how to use, and all of a sudden you got to learn how. It's humbling and it's disturbing at the same time. So you take this sheet and you got to put it face down, and then the back side of it, you end up having to put water on it. But then you can't put too much water in it, because then if you get the paper wet that it's on, then the decal won't work. It's like, man, it's like you have to be really, really careful with it. But they turn out really well. And would I use them again? Absolutely. Especially now that I kind of know what I'm getting into. But you have to cut around the decal. There's a lot of steps in it that just made me really uneasy about what I needed to do. And especially since I didn't notice how well they turned out until I was done with the varnishing phase. Because up until the varnishing phase, like these horses here, okay, these are my Russians, and they have the Little Big Man Studios decals, but they're not varnished. Okay, I don't know if you can tell them on here. The shiny, the part where the decal is shiny. Look, there you go. Look how shiny that thing is. Almost like it has gloss. And it's not until you end up sealing it that it looks flat. It looks great. But you can even see the edges of the decal and everything. It's just, it really, the whole process, I'm like, I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to like it. It's not going to turn out well. It's not going to turn out well. And that wasn't the case. They turned out just fine. That's why I paint one figure at a time. Okay, if I paint the first guy one of these that I painted, I was like, this isn't going to work out. I'm going to have to hand paint the shields. And I don't have a problem with it. I like hand painting shields, but these decals are so nice. There's no way that someone in the Middle Ages could have painted stuff on a shield with the kind of brushes they had back then that would even resemble the quality of these decals. So my knock against Little Big Man Studios is your decals are so good, there's no way they would look like that good in real life. There. Is that a compliment or kind of sideways compliment? But they have a good product, but it's weird, and so I don't blame you, Greg, for not hard to wrap your head around it, because I get it. It was I was scared. I was definitely scared after that. So, all right, let me take care of some maintenance. We got a million things that have popped up here. All of a sudden, I got a bunch of robocallers. Well, I don't answer those. If you call me and I don't know who you are, you don't get me to answer the phone. It's that simple. If it's important, you'll leave me a message. Hi, this is Frank Fire. Come put out the fire. If I know who Frank is, then yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, I don't pick up the phone for. It's funny. Phone calls on this phone is what I use it the least for filming games, videos, all that kind of stuff. What I use it, taking pictures. What I use it the least for, calling people. So, okay, we're going to do the edges. Looks like they had some fur on the edge of these. So let's mix up some of this to do for the edge here. I was going to order some decals for the banner sheets for these Irish from Little Big Man Studios. And then I noticed that yesterday they went on. I was like, well, I guess I'll just hold off on getting them until they come back. Although I got half of mine just to hand paint them. Or find something online, turn it into black and white, and then hand paint that. I do like hand painting flags, but there's just some stuff out there that's just better than I can do. My favorite flag manufacturer is this guy called Pete's Flags, and he sells on eBay, and he's out of the UK, of course, and I think he has originals that are probably like maybe this size. I'm guessing they're pretty big. They're at least a quarter of this size, so they're at least, I'd say, the original must be something like this size. Then shrinks it to whatever size that you need, whether it's 15 millimeter, 28s, what have you. And anything that he makes is top notch. It's better than anything I've ever seen. And this is the traditional, you cut it out and it's two sides, and then you glue it together and then warp it a little bit so it looks like the flag's moving in the air. It's a traditional flag style, not Little Big Man Studio style. And yeah, that's his stuff. Anything he makes, it's fabulous. I've used this stuff on my Imperialist, my Maximilian Imperialist, on my French, on my Spanish. He just doesn't make a huge variety of stuff that is earlier than the 1500s. So I should say 1600s, because I think he makes probably some 100 years worth of stuff. But. So yeah, that's some armies that I really don't have any of. I know the Harbach boys have 200 years war English armies, so I'll never build one of those. There's no reason to. I'd be more inclined to do the French, but I feel like that's an army everybody has. I feel everybody has 100 years war of French. They're not drawing me to paint them. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to make it tonight. My goal is going to be to get this one guy done, because I'm pretty tired. But we can at least get this guy done and then start fresh in the morning. So as soon as that mounted comes in, we're going to drop these guys like there's nobody's, like yesterday's news, and go and work on the mounted horses. Because these figures, when they're done, they end up replacing some of the blade I just finished. Okay? I can't use the blade with these guys. They're used in lieu of. So right now I've got 9 stands for this army done. I got 6 stands of skirmishers and 3 stands of the heavy infantry. So I've got to do the mounted to be able to play them in one format of them, in one version of them being played. So I'd like to do that first, because that way you can at least play them. It's not like you've got to wait until much later to. I'm trying to take some of this stuff off. This thing, I always get this paint all over me, because it's like it's not getting a good seal. And I swear I've cleaned it off many times, but since I'm just rambling here, let's take this stuff off. Even though I prefer the eyedropper, the quality of this paint's pretty good. The metallics all these days is of this style, this vintage, and the original vintage is much better than Vallejo on their metallics. So for the metallics, I don't even use the Vallejos that I have. I just I go straight to these. So all right. Yeah, it's not even 8, and I'm already fading fast. You can tell I'm not drinking again. I was like, man, I'm falling asleep. And somebody wound me up in a good way. And the next thing you know, I got a bunch of stuff done. So if you guys have any questions that'll help entertain me, absolutely, I'll be happy to talk about them. So that's an open invitation. We could talk about different stuff, just no debating. I don't get into debates and stuff, you know. If you like blue better than red, that's cool. Like blue, you know. Somebody else might like green, you know. All right, we're going to use this U.S. field drab. We're going to use this for the pike. I'm not sure. I'm convinced that I don't want a light colored pike, but we're going to go ahead and go with this one and see how it turns out. What's the worst thing that can happen? I have to repaint it? No big deal. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, so let's get a brush here. Put some of this down. Ah, okay, there we go. All right, Kelly Davis. Favorite Ancients era movie or battle scenes from a movie? Okay, I'm not a huge movie person. You know why? Because most movies suck. You know, Ancients. Okay, let's start with Ancients. How many Ancients movies have I seen? Um, the one at the beginning of Gladiator, I like. I saw Gladiator. Gladiator came out before I got into Ancients. I've been 10 years old. I guess the 80s stuff doesn't count because I was just a wee lad. But I've been gaming for a while, and it's mostly been World War II gaming until I discovered this wonderful game. This game I discovered in 2004. So prior to 2004, I really didn't see anything that was Ancients. I just wasn't really into it. I just didn't know any about it. Didn't have any books. I just thought it was really vague. Information wasn't available. All that kind of stuff. So I was never drawn to, like, for instance, watch like the 300 or Cleopatra or any of that old stuff. I just never saw it. Any of those classic movies, other than Ben Hur, of course, which is an awesome movie. I want to find that again, actually, to show my daughter, but it seems to be a little rather elusive. But regardless of whether or not it's historically accurate, but I had never seen anything. It wasn't until 2004 that I started doing Ancients and Medieval. So I had already seen Gladiator. I saw Gladiator, and it came out in 2000. I saw it in a movie theater, and that battle scene at the beginning was freaking awesome. So that's definitely the best Ancients medieval thing that I have seen, in my opinion. Kingdom of Heaven came out after it was already in a DBA, and it was just like there's so many movie faux pas that I dislike. I don't like it when they treat you like a child. Okay, and here's the example I'm going to give you, and it's with Kingdom of Heaven. There's a scene where the main character, whatever his name, Ibelin, I forget what his first name is, but he ends up going to the Holy Land, and his ship gets in a storm, and he shipwrecks. Okay, all right, cool. So he survives from a shipwreck. All right. Well, what else shipwrecked? A horse. And how many horses? Just one. So it's just him, and it's just one horse. I'm like, okay, stop. That's the kind of crap I hate. Like, why couldn't it have been three horses? Or why could it have been like no horses? Or, it's just that type of irony and coincidences is just absurd. But other than that, there was some. It was okay in the standpoint that there were some scenes that involved Crusaders that you never see in other movies, even though it wasn't accurate or stuff like that. But when I found out they're making a Crusades movie, I was already in the DVA and I already knew enough about the Crusades that I was like, oh, cool. I wonder which Crusade they're going to do. And like a good story as consumers, they just want to make a quick buck. Because if somebody says, Tony, we're going to make a movie about the Crusades, what should we do? I'm like, dude, do the first Crusade and just tell it like we think it happened, because that is an excellent story. But they want to, like, when people make movies, they want to prove a point or have a morality lesson, and the rest of us just want to learn more about history. We don't care about morality. You can make out of the movie whatever you want. It was just tell the story. And the First Crusade is just insane, from the standpoint of getting off the beat, getting off to the wrong start by marching through Germany and persecuting the wrong people to it's just some crazy stuff that happened that you just wouldn't even believe. If eating horses and just crazy stuff. But that I wasn't too terribly impressed with that. Um, I have a problem in movies when I wish there was more movies that used actors you didn't know. Okay, because what happens is that I know why they do it. They want to draw people to watch that you've never heard of. Like I am a fan of foreign movies because I run subtitles on everything. Because I tend to watch historical or complicated things, backstabbing, spies, people on different sides of the issue, turncoats, that kind of stuff. I need to see things. I do better if I see it written out. So a foreign movie doesn't turn me off at all because I'm running subtitles anyways. Okay, I'm used to it. Um, so I wish there was more of that. Movie with oh man, what's that in the Rome series? It's a movie called Ironclad. I can't remember what his name is. He's the guy that plays the bad guy in The Following. Watched a couple episodes of that. Really like him. I can't remember what his name is. But anyways, we'll get back to Rome because Rome was awesome. That's what I should have mentioned. The Rome series is probably the best one in my opinion that's been out. The miniseries, even though there's not a ton of action. Actually, there's hardly any. Well, there actually is a ton of action, but it's not with swords, if you know what I'm saying. But anyhow, uh, the movie Ironclad, and I don't remember what his name is right now, but the main character, plays as best as I can remember, because that's the other thing. I'll watch a movie one time, I won't watch it again. Is there some information here? Home and setting into paint. Okay, Joe. Hello, Joe. Awesome. Da, 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 da. Yeah, yes. Yes, Todd, I enjoyed your 12-second video. I'm like, oh, cool. It's like, oh, that's all. Oh, that's all the airplay you're gonna give me? Like, gee, see if I make a video about you. Yeah, I'm gonna go and show you my wardrobe, and I'll make it 14 seconds long. No, I hope you enjoy the rules. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Like I said, it's not an army. They're not army lists. They're checklists. I like these guys, and I want to build these, and I want to do that. But anyhow, whatever this guy said, and he apparently important to the scene. I'm gonna share with you guys. So hopefully you've seen it. If not, I'm gonna spoil the scene for you. Hey, you guys asked. No, you should watch it anyways. It's not going to spoil the whole movie. But the main character is a crusader that comes back from the crusade, and he didn't behave, and he's decided to join, do a vow of silence. So he's basically a mute. I think it might be for the whole movie, but anyhow. So one of the things is it's apparently the castle is for some baron that decides to revolt against King John. Good old King John, right? That everybody likes. King John from Robin Hood, etc. You guys know who he is. Anyways, played by Paul Giamatti, who's always lovable. But anyhow, there's a scene where they're storming his castle, and he's up on the battlements. This guy, this vow of silence knight, and he's got this sword that I guess it's like a claymore. He wasn't Scottish though, but he was like a claymore, like definitely a two-handed bastard sword or whatever. And I'm gonna need a prop for this. Let's see if we can find us a prop. And this is one of these things that movies are a way, I think, of being able to see things that you hear about happening, but then not being able to see how they are. So this guy's on the battlements and he's defending. He's got no shield or anything. He just has this two-handed sword, and he cleaves this guy at the top of his neck here, like this, and comes all the way here and splits the guy in like two diagonally. And it's like awesome because it's like, oh, so that's what it would look like, you know. Not that I want to see gore, but it's like, you know, you got hit. It's not. This isn't an old movie from the '50s where every time you swing a sword, you hit somebody else's sword. You know, this is like, oh, so that's what happens when you get hit by one of those. So that was a pretty cool scene too. Um, but Ancients. What else? What are the Ancients thing that I've seen? Saw 300, and I didn't hate it because the interesting thing is I went, and the other idea that I left is like, oh, this is what. Because remember, like one guy survives and he goes back to Sparta to tell everybody what he pictured. So and it's reasonable instead of, you know, over the top comic book type thing, you know. So Rome. Okay, so I got into Rome when I had just built my first Roman army where I was painting it, and man, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed how they put things in it that really happened, that we know that happened, and then they added in the fluff in between, and I think they did a really good job with it. Um, and yeah, that was really cool. I didn't watch it live, thank goodness, because I just went and purchased the whole season. Because then it's like not leaving me hanging. I'm not waiting another week to find out what happens. I'm gonna watch another one, so you can just binge watch it and stuff like that. But yeah, Rome is pretty awesome. Ancients, medieval. What else? There's not that many movies that I've seen. I mean, I guess there are if I list them. Remember there's that old movie that had Charlton Heston in it, where he plays. I think it's called The Warlord, where he plays a Norman. He plays a Norman lord who plays a bad guy. And it's like really weird seeing Charlton Heston play a bad guy. It's like, wow, this is really strange. Um, I can't think of anything else that ancients or medieval. I mean, certainly there's stuff out there, but you know, we're not going to even mention Braveheart. I wasn't even in ancients, and I thought Braveheart was horrible. I really dislike it when they distort history severely, and they make you want to root for one side, and and it's like, nah, I'm not buying it, you know. Um, Way behind Gladiator, I'm like, man, I wanted him to come back and butcher everybody that backstabbed him. So that was, and you know, that's the only thing I've liked Crow in. I've seen a handful of other things with Crow, and that's the one thing. Even Master and Commander, I couldn't get into Master and Commander. I don't care for the whole sailing ship. Period. Um, oh, you know what other movie is good? We're getting out of Ancients or whatever. Is I haven't seen it in a long time. Is Last of the Mohicans. Man, some of those scenes where they like uh, ambush the people at the formations. That was some pretty intense stuff right there. I knew a guy that was an extra on that. I didn't know him really. At the end of the column that Magua puts an accent to. I'm like, oh, you got Magua, okay. Um, what else? Any Napoleonic stuff I've seen? I've seen Waterloo once, and I just feel they really could make some better the stuff that just to inspire people to really be really interested in the stuff that really happened, because that's what I said, the story is great, you know. There's some great stories out there that just need to be told, and look at all the stories that have been forgotten because so we're kind of limited on what we have, you know. Once you start getting into, you know, certainly the earlier periods. um, oh, I know what movie I liked. um, I liked it anyways. I saw it recently with my daughter. I figured she was old enough to watch it, and I was right. It's a little gory, but it's pretty good. And that's that movie with Fassbender called Centurion. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Um, I thought it was pretty good. It also helped that there was people in it that I really liked actor wise. So that helped. But that was a fun movie. It was certainly better than The Eagle. That's the only ones I can think of that are good. Um, let's not get into the World War II stuff because I've seen a lot of those, and I still think that. Well, that's just a whole no, another whole thing. You know, I'm a World War II nut, so I kind of expect a lot out of those movies. Of course, Band of Brothers is top of the list there. I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed Saving Private Ryan, even though it had its movieism stuff. I remember when that played on the movie theater, the movie where they're looking for Matt Damon's character, and they're in this field, and this vehicle comes by, and I think it's like a Hungarian or something mock-up of a. It's a real German half track. They got one working. I was like really impressed. It's not. It's like a half conversion or whatever, but it's like the best mock-up I'd seen up to that point. So I like it when they put effort into doing things like that we can appreciate. But yeah, that's the problem if you're into historical stuff. It's really hard to impress us war gamers because we want to learn, we want to see what we've been reading for years to come to life, and if it doesn't fit that, it doesn't. If it doesn't work for that, we tend to be disappointed. You know, but I really wish they would make. What else? Dunkirk. Oh, I didn't like Dunkirk. Fire that was able to shoot planes down while it was engine cut off. That's just, come on. That's just Hollywoodisms. Except for the fact that I wish they would have. If you're going to make a movie about the Battle of Atlantic, the destroyer needs to be a Commonwealth destroyer. Don't just, oh, we got to make it an American destroyer so people in the U.S. can get it. Come on, man. The Battle of Atlantic had been going on 3 years before the U.S. even got involved in it. You know, and it was most critical at that point. So, anyhow, I hate when they have to dumb things, or we got to stick an American in there so people can understand. I mean, we watch English stuff all the time. I mean, I'm sure there's dumb people in every country, but I don't like when they do catering things like that to it. So, oh, you're going to mention the movie that I dislike and everybody likes, Kelly's Heroes. I saw it one time ago. I got to give it another shot. Okay. So here's the thing about Kelly's Heroes. I love everybody in the cast. They're people that I watch movies. Just it had that whole '70s vibe. It's just I don't know. I just did not like it at all. Sorry. I'm that one person that doesn't like Kelly's Heroes, and I don't know why it's a fan favorite. It's funny because I grew up watching Hogan's Heroes with my dad. Okay, and as hokey as that is, I like that. I need to find that and show it to my daughter. I think she'll get a kick out of it because she understands some World War II stuff now. I'm the one person that didn't like that movie. And that's always like if they say, favorite World War II movies, that's was always towards the top. And I don't know, I never, it never appealed to me. It never appealed to me. Movies with armies marching always have a guy with helmet too small and crooked. Yeah. I grew up watching, I want to say it was on TBS. I could be wrong. I grew up watching as a kid the war movie I saw all the time was Guns and Ammo. I saw that one so many times. I don't mean it like, and yeah, don't learn your history from movies, folks. Hey, at least they picked German tanks that were bigger. Another thing I can't do movies that are black and white. I just can't. I just feel like I can't. It's almost like I'm not seeing well. Like, it was filmed in color. Why is it in color? You know? I can do foreign movies. I can do movies of people I never even heard of. Perfect. But man, make the movie and make the. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, Kevin, now you can that person. There's always one for every movie. But I'll give it another shot. I just got to find out when it's playing. I'll give it another shot. Just the I mean, even the music at the beginning, it was like, what? I'll give it another shot, but I won't. I can't promise that I'll like it. I probably won't. But I do like all the actors that are in it. Probably everyone. Oh, we not finished talking. So, Combat Rat Patrol. I've never seen either one of them. Combat's black and white, and I think Rat Patrol's also black and white, right? I could be wrong. Oh, the other movie I grew up watching was Cross of Iron. Of course, it's Russian front. That's my favorite thing, you know? Um, I always get a kick out of these actors that are in real life, they ended up being like anti-war or anti-gun and all this stuff, and that's all they're in is in that stuff like that. James Mason was like a big. I think he protested World War II. I think he was called to serve. I could be wrong, but he definitely was a pacifist, and he's been in a ton of war movies. Um, the White in Color. Okay, yeah, I didn't grow up with them. When I grew up, it was like if they weren't playing on your TV, you didn't get to watch it. I mean, that's what happened. It wasn't like, oh, I'll just rent the VHS. They just weren't. They just weren't available. Um, yeah, Desert Fox. I saw Desert Fox. I was gonna say not that long ago, but no, it was probably 10 years ago for the first time. Is it black and white? I think it might be black and white. I've sucked it up and watched a couple of black and white movies, but I really don't like it. I really, really don't like it. Um, the Schindler's List, when Schindler's List came out, and I found that it was black and white, I just thought it was a huge missed opportunity. And I'll give you an example, okay? We've all read horrible stuff that happened. Um, and when they had that mini series that was on in the late 80s, I caught every one of them. That War and what was it, War and Remembrance or whatever. Okay, so it's a cheesy drama thing, whatever. So I'm in my late teens when it concentration camp, and it's in full color, and they're showing that in full color. It is frightening. And when you go and you make a Holocaust film and it's in black and white, I just feel like it loses that. It's just almost like a newsreel type thing, and you're removed from that stuff. Just like when I don't know if you guys have seen any of the footage of like Hitler or something like that, and they found like movies of him in color. It's some creepy shit, when you realize like, oh man, this is really like brings things home. So I think color is really powerful. And yeah, I mean, I remember when they had that scene in War and Remembrance, and this would have been what, 1988, 87, 88, one of those 2 years, and it was in full color, and they had people doing the thing that they did to them in full. It was powerful. So that's why I don't understand why they made Schindler's List in black and white. I'm like, although I do remember watching Schindler's List, there's this one scene towards the end of the movie. I think it's towards the end of the movie, and Oscar Schindler says he's trying to save more of his workers, and he ends up being questioned. You know what? I think they were trying to take some of his workers away to be to the camps, and he takes. I remember I've seen this only one time, but he takes, I want to say this, a child's hands, and he says, "You see these hands? These are the only ones small enough to work on 45 millimeter shell casings or whatever." And right then I'm like, millimeter ammunition that's being made for the Germans, right? But yeah, I've suffered through a couple of black and white movies, but I don't like it. And I just think color is just so much more powerful. You don't need 3D or none of that stuff, but And you don't have to dumb things down for Americans and make sure you put an American in there so everybody can kind of feel like at home. I mean, geez. I don't like it when they do stuff like that. But anyhow, wow, that was a long tangent. What else? What else did I like a lot that would be called a war movie? But I've never been in a war, thankfully. So that's only from my own perspective. Somebody might actually be in conflict and said, "No, that's not very realistic. That's not really what happened." Um, but I do not need a movie to have Americans in it for me to get it. And when I'm being pandered on that level, I find it's really dumb. When it's kind of obvious, like, oh, they just put the token American in there so people could get it. Yeah, I didn't care much for Dunkirk, but I'm not surprised because I just sometimes you're like, okay, why they pick this? Why did they pick this subject? You know, didn't really do it for me. Watched it, didn't fall asleep. Won't see it again. All right. Okay. Look, with some training, I can fake a Russian accent. Okay. Why don't I mean these people are actors? Why can't you fake a? You can speak in English, but have like a Russian twang to it, not like everybody has an English accent. Come on, folks. Be a little bit more believable. That happens all the time. What did I see recently that I couldn't stand because of it? I saw something and it was like poke your eye out. Don't say that with one of these in front of you. You could actually do it. What was it that I saw recently that was absolutely horrible? I don't remember what it was. I'll have to go through and yeah, it's just like people with a oh, I know what it is. Okay, a movie that everybody raved about, and I didn't like it. And again, I liked all the actors in it. It was Death of Stalin. Why didn't I like Death of Stalin? Well, first of all, nobody had a Russian accent. Come on, try a little bit. And Buscemi had his same little. It's like, geez, man. That'd be like filming a World War II movie, but we're not going to put everybody in boots. We're going to have them wear Nikes. Come on, try a little, dude. Everybody raved that that movie was great. There's this one scene with Jason Isaacs, and I like these Jason Isaacs. He's playing Zukov, and he comes around the corner with an AK-47, which I didn't think were around in 1953, but I could be wrong. But anyways, and he goes, "Oi!" I'm like, come on. Oh well, maybe I expect too much from Hollyweird. But hey, you asked what kind of movies I liked. I can guarantee you this. I think that if I tell you it's a good movie, I think it's a good movie. Well, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be saying that I like it. But I watch movies for the same reason that that probably many of us war gamers do. We'll see it and then we'll be inspired and wonder about that army list and do this and well, what if I game? Okay, here's another one too. Mitch turned me on to was that series. Is it on Netflix? I don't think it's a Netflix. It was on Netflix, and it may still be on Netflix. Called Versailles. and it's about Louis the 14th. It has very little action. It's just basically a drama, court drama, whatever. But it's really interesting. It has a French accent in it. Like, fake it. I mean, you don't have to be good. You don't have to be believable, but at least make people think that you're in France and not, somewhere in England. Anyhow, I find that annoying, especially when it's supposedly professionals that are doing, the acting. It's like, you're an actor. Act. El Cid. Okay. I was building my first DBA army, which was a feudal Spanish. I had never seen the movie. Because it's difficult to find. Like, you couldn't even buy the movie. It's like one of those people were like arguing about, whether or not it was released in the US and all this kind of stuff. Because I went to look for it and I couldn't find it. I thought it was kind of slow. But yeah, I saw it. I saw it before I built my armies. I figured, oh well, maybe I'll be inspired by some of the stuff that I see on there. Yeah, no, it's got a lot of like, oh, they wouldn't have that shield or they wouldn't have that thing, but it wasn't horrible. But yeah, I did see that, but I didn't see that until like what 2004 when I was building the feudal Spanish army. Let's try. I guess it's kind of similar. We'll play a little game with this color. We're going to start adding it, but we're going to start lightening up before we get to the core color and tinker with it a little bit so it doesn't look similar to this one. But this is one of these army painter things that I'm not too enamored with the army painters. Their paints don't cover great. Danish. Okay, it comes from Herning, Denmark, made in France and other EU countries. Well, it comes from France and oh man, this red grass thing is designed in France, which surprised me. I wish they would have just made the whole thing. Nope, made in China, like everything else. Wish they just made it in France. And nothing against French products. It's cool to have countries that used to manufacture stuff still make. Yeah, I thought that Versailles was pretty good. It's just politics and stuff like that. Um, I guess it's kind of like the Tudors, but better. I thought it was better than the Tudors. I never finished watching the Tudors. I made through like 5 seasons, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I don't like who they cast as Henry VIII in the Tudors. Um, I like who they cast in. I like who they cast as Louis the 14th. I think he did an excellent job on Versailles. I thought he did an excellent job on that. I tried watching the Borgias too, and I made it like the last season and just gave up. Nobody there speaks with an Italian accent. That's the problem is that there's so many of these series, there's so many things to watch that if something doesn't grab your fancy after like 10, 15 minutes, I just move on to something else. Because you don't want to, who wants to commit a long time to something that you don't like, you know? And then you end up getting to well, um, then you end up getting all the way through a season and you realize, "Well, I didn't like any of this at all. I just kept watching because I wanted to know what happened in the end." But um, there's just too many things out there. And that's what happens. But yeah, that's what'll happen is I'll watch Versailles and they'll show like one little battle scene and I start like, okay, let me read where the French forces were and okay, who makes if I wanted to game this, who makes the figures and all right, I can get them in this scale and what rules would I use? The rabbit hole that we all war gamers go down, because we want to participate in what we saw, That's what was that movie, Defense of Venice? I don't think I've seen him. I haven't seen a movie that would defend Venice. You sure it was Venice, not Rome? Venice. Venice would have had to be defended against, well, one of the other Italian states, I guess. Um, I mean, the Turks attacked Venice, but I don't think they threatened Venice properly because, they built that city in a freaking swamp. So it's kind of hard to take. Venetian history is really, really interesting. Those guys were just like highest bidder kind of guys. Just really interesting. There's so many things that if they took historically, you'd be like, man, that would make a great movie. But you have to think, yeah, it'd make a great movie if you did it right. But Hollywood's going to ruin it. They're gonna put their own spin on it or focus on an aspect that that really isn't it. I mean, just you think, oh, make a movie about Hannibal would be really cool. Yeah, but they'd ruin it. They would do it wrong. So there's speaking of Hannibal, there's a thing that was done on the History Channel, maybe I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago on Hannibal, and it was a multi-part one. And I thought it was pretty good, but there have been several on him, and the way to do those programs is have somebody that's narrating it, and then but there's like a movie playing constantly, so it's not like they stop to let's listen to one historian talk about what happens and then they show what happens. Just let the freaking film roll, and then people interact with it. I think that that's a more effective method than interjecting the historians, because once you start interjecting the historians, it kind of really slows down the pace, and people that aren't like history nuts will just lose interest. So yeah, Braveheart. No, no Braveheart. I didn't like it when I didn't know about the whole blue O that they didn't use. But it's like everything's wrong on it. It's like when they try to really make everything like a. I think that whole thing of the king had the right to spend the night with the noble's wife, and come on, man, you're just pulling stuff out of your nether regions you know, to just make us hate the one side over the other. It's like it just seems too hokey. Come on, you could do better than that. I'm a big boy. Tell me the truth. Uh, Troy was bad with Greeks with British accents. Yeah. Waterloo. I've seen Waterloo one time. I've seen Waterloo one time. Um, that's it. I didn't dislike it or anything. Napoleonics just isn't my period. So if something was totally wrong, I didn't see it. And I did start seeing the Sharp series, um, but just kind of just stopped watching it. Maybe like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I like Sean Bean. Especially if they don't kill him off. But which I don't think he dies in this one. But I never got into the Napoleonic stuff. Don't hate it, just never got into it. Um, at least it's European history, or I should say, non-American history. I'm not a fan of American history. It's, there's not enough conflicts over here. We got to talk about conflicts. Oh man. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be at some point. I'm bound to build a feudal English army. I've got all the stuff that I need for them, so um, that seems like a good fit. And there's lots of information on their heraldry from that Falkirk rules of Falkirk with all the shield patterns that all the nobility had. So that's like all winners. So they'll be on the horizon. I keep painting like this. I'll get to them eventually. It might be 2 years from now, but hey, that's not too bad. You know. Um, I hate Roman movies that use wrong armor. Yeah, I know that too now. Um, um, they'll use like Lorica segmentata, but it will be made out of leather instead of metal. Oh man. What was that series I started watching about a year ago called Britannia? That's what it was. And the only reason I wanted to watch Britannia is because I like David Morrissey. David Morrissey is the guy that plays the Roman commander in that, whatever the hell his name was, based on a real guy supposedly, and and he's also in Centurion, and of course he plays the governor in Walking Dead. Back when the show was worth watching a little bit, but I like it. That's the only reason I watched it, and yeah, it quickly got old. It quickly got old when I just didn't care about any of the characters, and I'm sure it's plenty hokey with the stuff, but you know, remember it's made to entertain people that are uneducated about the stuff that they're watching, you know. But I watched like 4 or 5 episodes. I'm like, okay, this isn't worth my time anymore. I'll go on to something else. Yeah, there's one of the most complicated from someone who's not familiar with it, from someone who's not intimately familiar with it, because I am familiar with it to some degree. The Napoleonic Wars are extremely complicated because it's the whole we're going to go to war with you, oh, we'll have a peace, and it's negotiated. And then a little while later, they go at it again, and who's on what side and that kind of stuff. They're pretty complicated. So I came across these people that I don't remember who it is, but they had made a YouTube video that really kind of explained. And the same thing with what we're gaming right. Well, what we've made videos of the Diadochi, the Alexander's successors. They that's super complicated too. Like who's on what side and who's married to Sue. And there's several videos that have been made by people that are that really do a good job of explaining that well. And I need to watch one of those on the Napoleonic one as well. But I've done some Napoleonic gaming, very little. Mitch has a ton of Napoleonic stuff. We play a board game called Napoleon in Europe that incidentally both of us had at one point. I picked it up because it's just absolutely beautiful board game before I even knew Mitch, and then he had it as well. I ended up selling my copies. I figured, well, we're never going to play either one of them, and we've played 7 or 8 times, and I got stuck playing the Austrians the first time and kicked so much ass I wouldn't want to play anybody other than the Austrians. So I'm definitely I have a soft spot for the Austrians, but I like Habsburg stuff anyways, so you know. Um, yeah, I kicked ass with that, but haven't really gained any Napoleonic stuff. I played DB, what is it called? DB N a couple times. I like that. It didn't feel like I was playing a Napoleonic battle, but he's got so much Napoleonic stuff that if we're going to do Napoleonic, we're going to do because and then he can run it. He can figure out the rules and stuff. He's familiar with. But yeah, that was the. I want to say Britannia was the one that they had. Lorica segmentata made out of leather. My daughter was like 6 years old, and I want to say she was 6. She wasn't older than 7 for sure. And I got her to sit through Cleopatra. I'd never seen Cleopatra before. So that was like 7 or 8 years ago. And you know, 50s, 60s movie, Hollywood thing. Didn't expect any kind of realism out of it, but you know, just figured I had to watch it, you know. All right, what else can we highlight in this guy? This guy does not look like much right now. He looks actually pretty shitty. And half of it's casting, and half of it is kind of the uninspiring painting that I've done. But hey, I just followed the instructions supplied by Osprey on this dude. Okay, I'm not at fault. No, he'll look fine once he gets. And he's kind of the starter. He's going to set the pace for the rest of them. Now I'm pretty much done with him. I just need to come in and give his after the light wash on his helmet is done, do a lighter color on it and make that shine a little more. So we're going to set him off to the side. So this is 1 of 8. And, if I'm done towards the end of him and I realize I don't really like how he turned out, then, I can go back and touch him up. So I do have Essex pikemen for this army, but I don't think that they represent, the ones I have represent them really well because their shields are too big. They have almost hoplite size shields on the for these pikemen. It just doesn't seem right. They should have something a little bit more buckler sized. So, anywho, yeah, I'm gonna have to retouch some of these up. I had something that happened with these figures that in all of my years of painting had never happened before, and I think I was trying to. I, I just recently started spray painting figures with an aerosol can, black, not completely, but some, so that when I go in and brush paint the remainder of it, I'm not trying to dry brush, but I'm not trying to paint the entire figure. Just work on like maybe the nooks and crannies because you can't ever get all of it with an aerosol because you can't get into the folds and stuff like that. And if you do get into folds, you'll get so much extra paint on the other areas you don't want to that you're just left with a blob. So what ended up happening to me, I think, was I don't think it was a humidity because I've sprayed in humidity before and never had an issue. I think I was too far away from it actually, and I got a very grainy effect on some of this stuff. And I don't know how that's going to play into it. It really didn't affect this first guy too much, but I think I'll just power through and it'll probably be just fine. But that was kind of unusual that happened. I had never seen it before. Um, but anyhow, we're gonna paint. We want to paint a figure that's different, just for variety, because we've got 5 of one type of these, and it's a guy that has a similar. We'll just paint one of these guys here. This will be fine. His head and his helmet looks like it's similar, but his shirt's different. So we're just gonna paint this guy up right here. Let's. Am I happy with that pike color? Let's take a look. Probably. Yeah, we'll go with that pike. Oh, hello. Let's not drop our figures. Jeez. So at least lose a battle with them first. Man. Well, they're my figures. If anybody can break them, it's me. I'm gonna be the one that has to fix them. So. Bad Irishman. All right, I've been talking so much. I need to get a refill and get some water in here, and I'll be right back. So, I will be right back momentarily, folks. Sorry about that, but I didn't want to lose my talking voice. All right, let's make sure we don't have any other stuff on here. Nope. Troy was bad with Greeks with British accents. Yeah, Troy was bad with Brad Pitt. That alone. Yeah. That alone. Now this guy's got looks like some kind of a tunic, and it's ribbed. So we're going to use the ribbed tunic starter color. We're going to go with, let's not go with here. Yeah, we could use dark sand. Dark sand will be just fine. You guys just joined us. We're painting some Scots Pikemen. These are from Gladiator, and they're not the best figures, but that's okay. We're going to make these guys have an important role, you know. And we have knights that are on the way. We got the light. Try to watch a couple episodes of, not watch, listen to a couple episodes of the Irish History podcast. Man, those people fought each other a lot. Whew. I really wish, that's one thing I wish there was subtitles for, because some of the pronunciation and the pronunciation and the and how it's written sometimes don't correlate for those of us that aren't familiar with that tongue or dialect. Oh yeah, this is kind of grayish. That's fine. That's what we want. Yeah, but you know, getting back to war movies. War movies are just like, you know, what's your favorite pizza type thing. Really hard to get people to agree on a lot of stuff. So, I mean, there was even people that, just to give an example, there's some people that have varying opinions on Thin Red Line. And I'm firmly in one camp from watching it one time. And I thought everybody was in the same camp as me, but no. There's actually people that like that movie. But you know, it just depends on what you wanna see. You know, I'm watching a war movie. I want to see the stuff that I've read about be played out. You know, that's what I'm interested in. So if it meets that criteria, then it gets me where I need to go. Well, this guy looks like he's got some kind of a shirt that's popping out over this thing, so we're gonna have to paint that a little bit different. Just almost like a, hey, almost like a COVID mask that he's got on, but he's got it pulled down. He's ready to walk into a Walgreens, and they won't let him in there without a facial covering. I think he doesn't. A shirt dividing. My daughter was actually asking me to watch Mighty Python and the Holy Grail again. She probably saw it when she was 9 and liked it. I'm surprised, you know, but you know, I think she'll enjoy it a little bit more now when she's She's a mid-teen more than before. But, of course, it's on DVD with subtitles because the film quality of it is just abysmal. But yeah, she actually liked it. Okay, let's bring this guy's color up some more. Well, not that much. Jeez. Slow down. I could have mixed it with dark brown and just decided to do black this time and give it kind of a gray look, working the folds up. And like I said, I kind of enjoy painting these figures that are less than stellar, making them shine a little bit. You know, those really good figures, you got these forged in battle and Zyston figures, you know, that's child's play to make them look good, especially those forged in battle. I got to paint some of those. They just look beautiful. So I've just got so much lead that for me to justify buying more, unless I'm doing, you know, like a pack here or a pack there. So how are we doing on time? Well, it's still early. It's not even 9 p.m., which normally would be late for me, but honestly, I've been doing some late painting lately. So doing this chit chat kind of helps me to stay on track and not come up with excuses to give it up, because we got to get these guys done. So Tony, I've always liked cartoon. Great work from Charlton Heston and decent battle scenes. So I don't think I've ever seen it. Um, I don't think I'd ever seen that one. It's not like I tried to avoid it. I just hadn't seen it. You know which one I wanted to see? I want to see the 55 Days of Peking. I don't know if the movie's worth a damn, but I think that interests me a little bit. I think the multinational aspect of that, it seems like it would be interesting to me, but I haven't seen Cartoon. I don't think I've seen Cartoon. I've seen. I don't think I've seen Cartoon. Because you mentioned that Charlton Heston's in it, and I don't think I've seen it then. I've seen. What's the one that has Laurence Olivier in it? There's one that has Laurence Olivier. Spartacus, I just saw. And it was all right, I guess. I was like, I didn't understand what all the hype was about. Um, I have a really love-hate relationship with anything done by whoever that director is. I can't remember, but his just like his style just drives me bananas. Um, Kubrick, Kubrick just drives me crazy. It was okay. I mean, it was didn't do anything about it. No, I said which was the one was Olivier with that was in the desert. That's I think the one I've seen. Oh, you know what movie's pretty cool? What is it called? The Lion in the Desert or whatever. The one where Sean Connery plays uh, a Moor or an Arab. That was an interesting movie type thing. Yeah, and I think I've seen this talk about those Victorian type movies. I saw the new Four Feathers. I haven't seen the original one. I saw Zulu, but not the second one. I like anything with Michael Caine in it, so you know, I'll pretty much watch the paint dry with Michael Caine. So I don't know why, it just kind of appealed to me. So and I saw Gunga Din. Gunga Din, man, everybody was raving about Gunga Din. It's like, well, why isn't it in color? I understand it's old as crap, but man, make it in color. There's a group in our convention group that plays this the series that does the rules, and they do in for that period that have been around forever. I can't. The name escapes me. I don't. But they always. I was getting ready to play one of those games, or I just had played one of those games. I'm like, and the rules that are made by Larry Brom. Like I can think of who they are, and they're kind of fun. Except anytime I played, I think I played the crappy troops, and I get massacred. You know, that's the one. Yep, that's the one, Joe. Yep. Yeah, I remember all the guys at the show always play that one, and they're good looking games. I just end up always taking the crap troops that get hosed. I want to play those and play the English. I want to play the crappy guys, the guys that are no good. So it's my own damn fault for liking the underdog. But it's my own damn fault. You know what movie I saw relatively recent? I think I probably saw it as a kid, but I don't remember it at all. And I was actually really impressed. I thought it was done really well. Was Tora Tora Tora. I thought Tora 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 was, well, it's older than me by 1 year. And I thought it was done really, really well. I liked it a lot better than the Midway movie, than the new Midway movie. But yeah, I thought that old, as a modeler, I get a kick out of when they have to build an actual model of something and then film it. That's pretty cool. How about those models of those galleys that they used in Ben Hur? That's some cool shit right there. That was some cool stuff right there. And I wasn't even interested in that period back when I saw it as a kid, but that was pretty neat. If you wanted to use a prop, you had to build a prop. It wasn't none of this CGI stuff. You had to literally build the thing. And if it was one that was in a fire, you'd have to burn that prop that you spent all that time doing. It's like, no, I've worked for months on this thing. Yeah, I grew up in that time period with all those Sinbad movies and all the stuff with the claymation monsters and yeah. Kevin Brownell, The Conqueror. I've never seen it. That's got to be the one with. That's got to be the one with John Wayne as Genghis Khan, isn't it? That's got to be what it is. The one that was done at that nuclear test site. Yeah, it was a bad idea. Let's cast John Wayne as Genghis Khan. I got to build a Mongol army sometime, but I know lots of people that are like big fans of the Mongols. I'm not. Um, I find them kind of boring. I mean, I know they're not, and all this stuff, but I don't know. I know one person in particular that I swear wished he was born a Mongol. He likes him so much. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I'll see them as the good guy ever. I just don't see pillaging stuff as, and like I think I said this in another video. I'll almost always take the side of whoever's got the cooler uniforms. Well, okay, let's talk about pre 20th century. Okay, I cleared that up. Whoever's got the coolest uniforms or equipment pre 20th century is who usually I get behind. So, oh man, let's not go down that path. But on that note, that is why so many people war game Germans in World War II, because they had cool uniforms and they had cool vehicles and they were complete rat bastards, but they had neat equipment, and that's why people like to game them. I think that's why. It's not like there's that many, Nazis running around. They just, and I always game World War II because I think that they were the quintessential enemy to pit up against anybody. And I just think that that really is the appeal of them. So yeah, I usually am more, I'm interested in, oh, okay, well, what do the guys look like? Oh, these guys look better. I like them. Romans or barbarians? Well, I like the Romans. The barbarians are just, barbarians, right? So, yeah, Mongols. Sorry, Mongols are the bad guys in my book. Unlike in my battles, I always say I'm always playing the good guys because it's my PR, right? I could spit it however I want. Ever play Islamic Persian Army? Oh, that's like horses with a side of horses and more horses on the side of horses. No, I've not played. I've not played them, but they're probably beautiful. We got all those horse trappings and stuff. They're like heavy. They're like heavy Ottoman Turks. My Ottoman Turks. I love my Ottoman Turks how they look, but they couldn't win a game if they bought one. Like they're like 1442 or something like that. I've lost my ass with those guys. And the Islamic Persians are even more unbalanced than the. Well, let's go take a look at them. This is an educational show, after all. They're a high book four army, and of course, we're talking. You guys aren't familiar. We're talking about a DBA army here. Islamic Persians are the. They're a high book four army. How about I just use the index, which I never use? They actually were interesting to find out. They were allied to the Portuguese for a while because the Portuguese and the Ottoman Turks didn't see eye to eye with trading and all that stuff. So I think the Ottoman Turks eventually knocked them out. Safarid. Let me look under Islamic Persian. It's probably under I. No? Okay. Let me look under P. Maybe this is why I don't use this damn index. Islamic Persian Army. Okay. It's book. That can't be right. It says it's book 4-4. There's no way it's that low. That's a huge mistake. That's feudal French. Okay. I bet it's 4 something. Look at that. I looked something up and I find a mistake. Don't you guys proofread this? Yeah, something always gets through. I know. All right, let's just find it through here. We will do Islamic Persians. Okay, they're 442. Islamic Persians. So interesting, they have a big gap in their list. They're 1245 AD to 1393, and then they pick up again 106 years later in 1499 to 1520. So what happened in that period? Oh, Timur happened. Oh, they got Timur raped. Okay. Now, this list covers the Iranian dynasties who ruled Persia as vassals of the Ilkhanid Mongols or emerged following the fall of the Ilkhanate, including the Injulids of Fars, the Sarbadarids of Sabzawar, Okay, forget it. Who these guys are? Anyway, so this is the Safavid Persian dynasty. Okay, all Persian cavalry were depicted with spired helmets, um, with chainmail, long iron or leather lamellar or mail armor, bows, scimitar, and if noble or a hero, a mace. Lancers usually and others sometimes rode horses with full lamellar or checker patterned quilted silk bards. Okay, so here's the Islamic Persian armies, Book 442. It is aggression 0 dry. So get out your dunes, folks. They have a cavalry general. Then they have another cav. Then they have cavalry that's depicted in different ways. So you've got some that are lance and bow, one of those, a bow only, then bow. They've got them broken down in different patterns. So they got a cav general, another cav, another 2, another 4. So 7 more cavalry. So you got a cavalry general and 7 more cavalry mandatory. Then you have a light horse. Then you can have 2 fast bow or saloy and a solid horde or fast pikeman or another cavalry. Well, you're never going to take that last cavalry unless you're playing some event where you have to have a ton of mounted guys. So it's 8 of the units. You're mandatory to have cavalry. There's no other way to play them. You got to have cav and 8 of the 12 elements. One of those 8 elements is the general. So you got a general that's a cavalry light horse as well. So now you got 9 of your 12 elements have to be mounted. Okay. Then they have 2 more elements that can either be skirmishers or bowmen, fast bowmen. And then you got 1 unit that could either be a solid horde or a fast pikeman. Or you could have another cav, which you're not going to take. So yeah, it's a good thing they're aggression 0, or they're never going to be able to do anything because they can only have a max is a solid horde. That's it. Wow. Yeah. Who do they fight? Themselves? I know they fight the Ottoman Turks. They fight Timur, obviously not very well. 477. That's a black and white Turkoman or something like that. Cheap Turks. Yeah. They'd be a pretty army because all those silks and stuff like that. I have an army similar to that to do. Want to know who it is? Of course you do. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought it up. And they are. So I do armies for dumb reasons. Okay. So I built my winless. They've added the adjective winless. Carriage. They're now 1 and 4. My new Carriage army that looks beautiful but fight like crap. I built them because I wanted an Arab army to have red flags on them. But the other army I'm interested in doing is because they have yellow flags, and that's the Mamluk Egyptians. And the Mamluk Egyptians are the same kind of thing. They've got a ton of mounted and that kind of stuff. So I could probably piece them together and build them probably without buying any other units. But the thing actually I like the most about these Arab armies is I actually like painting the desert terrain on the stand. I enjoyed how that looks. I think it looked. I was really happy with how that turned out. So, but yeah, I've got Mamelukes to do. So yeah, and they're an enemy for the Ottoman Turks, so that helps. And it might actually be kind of balanced for the Turks, because the Turks are aggression 4, the Persians are aggression 0, but the Turks want a lot of open ground, and so do the Persians. Otherwise, they can't fight either. They've got 9 of their elements are mounted troops no matter what, so they don't want to be fighting in. It's okay to have some terrain, but they're not going to go apeshit. Yeah, they have yellow flags. That's the thing that I actually like the most about doing a lot of flags if you're doing World War II stuff, unless you're playing Russians and you got that one Russian guy, it's, got bringing the big banner with a commissar next to him shooting people, in the back, that kind of thing. Other than that, you don't get to do flags if you're doing World War II stuff. So, the flag part's cool. So, That's also the reason why I don't like Book One armies. They have no flags. So, generally speaking. Islamic Persian army. Is that something you were thinking about doing there, Kevin? Essex makes some pretty decent figures for those. I don't love Essex figures, but mostly because some of the time they're just boring. The guys I just got done painting weren't, and they're all Essex for the Irish. And I've seen those Persian figures, and they're nice looking. They're nice with the mixing in the quilted armor and the and the checkerboard stuff. And here we go. 5 a.m. Wake up's catching on to me, but I want to get some more done on this dude. Yeah, even though you're sidetracking, that actually helps because I'm staying active. I'm not sitting here. If I wasn't be doing this, filming this live, what I'd be doing is I'd be surfing. Well, I probably wouldn't have been doing this long, but I probably would have been surfing around on other YouTube stuff, and every 3 minutes go to something else, and I'd get pulled every 3 minutes to try to do something to find the perfect thing to watch, and ended up not watching anything, and also not getting any painting done. So yeah, I'd rather at least attempt to make a concerted effort here to get something produced. And even though if it's causing me to go on one of my rambles, but that's okay. All right, so we got his little shirt here. Let's go ahead and do his flesh. So we get to do Tony's famous flesh mix, like Tony's flesh mix tape. Now that sounds like something. Kevin, I have one not painted. Yeah, that's the story of all of us. Yeah, it's I kind of enjoy playing, painting. In the past, what I've been doing is I've figured out how I'm going to play them, and that's how I'll paint them. Like if it's an army that has multiple options, I wouldn't paint off like if we're doing a Wimp Wars or Saloy Silliness or Auxiliarama or it's something like a certain number. Maybe not. You're required to have an army that doesn't have like the ideal composition, like for an open. I'm enjoying painting all the options that an army can have because that just makes them that much more useful in different venues you may use them in. So I think that's a good thing. Will I paint all the options for these Irish? No, no, I don't think I'm not. I don't think I'm going to paint a Pike General. Mainly because I don't have a Pike General figure that I'm in love with that looks like it would be, somewhat of importance on foot. I've got to have a general figure or a guy that looks special leading the army, not just some dude with a purple cape as opposed to a blue one. The other two guys next to him have that doesn't cut it for me. So. That doesn't cut it for me. But yeah, those Safavid Persians were allied to the Portuguese, and I don't know exactly the details whether they were trading partners or what have you, but they were kind of in that trade. The Portuguese were trying to get to India along the coast, and of course the Ottomans. They came into conflict with the Ottomans. So yeah, some of this guy's features are very ham-fisted like. So we'll try to make the best out of this guy. I'm sure he will turn out just fine at the end of the day. I'm about to throw in the towel though. I'm petering out here. Yeah, I think I am gonna call it a wrap. How long have I been on here for? Oh, 2 hours. Well, hell, that's great. Man, I guess I started early at 7 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. So we got one guy done, and we started on another one. Hey, I get a guy done every day. I'm happy. So, but anyhow, that's it for tonight. We'll catch you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially subscribe. And this stupid game with the purple cover and the rules that are written in its unique fashion. But yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on there, and that way you'll know when I come online. If you're interested in participating, it'll be right there. But okay, until next time, we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.